Minasan!
Hello!
Hello!
Welcome!
Yep, welcome. We're actually going to talk about our favorite
Yes.
animes
All times.
and why they're our favorite. Some are new, some are old. And these are just kind of our personal preferences. And, feel free to hopefully share our views. And if you don't, then that's okay.
Yep. So for me to start off, we each have 5 that we're kind of rounding off as our favorites.
Mm-hmm.
For me, this is totally cliche, but it's what got me into anime, so it has a special place in my heart, and that's Sailor Moon.
Mm.
It's just great. We all love it.
Actually, I haven't seen Sailor Moon yet. So.
What?
No, I actually haven't seen Sailor Moon
You'll
yet
laugh.
still.
When I go back and watch it now, it's like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. But I loved it. I watched it when I was
in high school?
No, 11.
Before high school?
Yeah, because I started getting anime and manga in elementary school. So, yeah, and it was just this perfect, it's about teenage girls and their day-to-day life in Tokyo or wherever they lived, modern day Japan. But then it also had this fantasy superhero aspect to it. In the theme song it even says, fight evil by moonlight, and it was just a fun story. And everybody loves Tuxedo Mask, the childhood heartthrob. It was
Cool.
just really fun, and I loved it, and it's super great.
Is it what kind of category is it in? Is it
It's shoujo.
It's
so,
shoujo.
yeah.
It's not an isekai where it's otherworldly, or is it?
I think isekai is when they go to another world.
Yep.
Whereas it always is taking place
In the same world.
on Earth. There is part of the series, and there are series where they go to the moon and they're on the moon or in other spiritual realms.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the evil people are coming to them on Earth, attacking, and they're saving everybody kind of situation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sailor Mars, my favorite.
Sailor Mars. Is there a theme of different? Because you said that it takes place on Earth, but then they go to the moon, and then there's a person like Sailor Mars. Does it have kind of a planetary theme?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because every single sailor is from a different planet, and they're all guardians of Sailor Moon.
Do they wear? I can't remember what the traditional.
Yeah, it's like a sailor outfit /
Yep.
high school girl outfit,
Yep,
high school uniform.
Yep,
and
exactly.
then they have this special little pendant and stuff. It's hilarious.
That's amazing.
So yeah.
That's amazing.
My number 1.
Your number 1. So my number 1, and I will go in this order. I was originally going to change my order, but since we're talking about super cliches and anime that got series that got us into anime, SAO is probably my number 1.
It's a good one.
And I think SAO as a story has had high points and low points. The AOL, the ALO arc is probably a low point, but the original series is still super super good, and especially I haven't read a bunch of manga, but I've been following SAO Progressive, and I'm all caught up on that. And it was funny because I was writing up my notes for this. I was going back through not only the anime, but looking through the SAO Progressive, just the books and the LNs and the manga, just to kind of look at different characters and stuff. And I was just thinking about why I really like the series, and I really a couple points kind of stood out, and I really like the development of Kirito's and Asuna's relationship. That's kind of one of the big points to it. I was originally gonna say that SAO is an isekai, but I don't think it actually fits in it because they're trapped in a game, but
They're still on Earth.
But they're still on Earth,
Yeah.
and their bodies are still on Earth, and it's not like they die. I mean, if they die in the game, they end up dying in real life. But it's not like he's transported truly to another world. So I don't know if it's fair to say that it's a traditional isekai.
Yeah.
So really like that. I was still kind of really new to watching anime when I found the series. So I think having not seen anything in the similar genre and then getting exposed to that really early really kind of cemented strong feelings for it, and that's why I love the series still so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. That and like I don't know. I'm trying to like, yeah.
I loved
You
season
are-
1 and the first half of the second season, but the rest I was like,
Kirito is like a person that you don't like. He doesn't necessarily have everything figured out, but he's thrown into this kind of extreme circumstance, and he does what he does to survive. And you like always are kind of hoping for him, like even when the odds are like, it's like an underdog story. Like even when the odds are stacked underneath him, like stacked against him, you were really hoping that he can like pull it together and bring it through and bring out the outcome that you want. And that's always kind of like a really good part of the series that I like enjoy watching. And then with the subsequent series, it's interesting to see like that's kind of that same aspect, like how the SAO incident has shaped him and how you're kind of always hoping that from that kind of experience that he's able to overcome whatever he's facing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's pretty much why we love SAO. SAO is good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's good.
SEO, and then the Alicization arc, which is current. I'm super excited to see the second half of when that's released in like October or November, because Alicization is great for all sorts of other reasons. Like, it's just I could keep talking about it, but
Yeah.
the Alicization arc is really really good.
Nice.
So what'd you have for number 2?
So I'm gonna go with Death Note, and that one's like
I have seen it. Though.
that one stands apart for me. Like it's not a typical category that I watch. Like I don't like it's more of a psychological thriller mystery-ish kind of storyline, and I don't really watch a lot of those, but Death Note is just amazing. That's something I recommend to everybody, even though it's like really depressing and kind of and it's pretty dark and a little heart-wrenching and not very like funny or anything. But the characters are just so good, and watching it the first time through, I think it was like unexpected. I love when I can't predict the ending kind of thing, and it's not your typical protagonist. And I actually really enjoyed that because I thought it worked, and and I love that it has a bit of the kind of spiritual world and demons, and it also just like raises a lot of questions about just like what would you do if you were in this situation, and like what is the right thing to do,
and you have the power to just end
like,
someone.
what is the right thing to do? Like there is kind of this gray area, and I love how the show explores that, but the characters are just phenomenal, and so good. I love it, but I also don't want to like talk too much about it because I don't want to give anything away. There's like the premise, and then it's like boop, that's it.
Okay.
So good. I love it.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
spoilers.
I know. Oh man, I was like, how much can I talk about without necessarily
I
giving
know.
like anything away?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, this is good.
Yeah.
This is good.
All right. What's your next?
My second is Danmachi, otherwise known as Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? I know you. We don't necessarily share similar views.
I don't
on
even
this.
know if I watched that or not.
It's good. I like it. This is another hard one to explain, because I was rewatching stuff and I was actually thinking about it. It's kind of odd how your perceptions change about like why you like things and stuff when you spend more time and like kind of critically think about it, because Belle Crannel is kind of like the main, like one of the main characters in the series, and like as you sit down and kind of think about him and his personality and stuff, it's like, why do I like this guy? Like, because he doesn't necessarily have like a ton of attributes that you find like attractive in like a personality. You know what I mean? Like, there's like, I mean, in the clip, she's like, you know, you're a coward, aren't you? And it's like, oh, and he kind of like, she's like, it's important. Eyes is one of the characters, his kind of crush that drives him forward. But she's like, yeah, being a coward is important because, you know, it's basically an expression of your preservation of your body. You know, to be a coward, it means that you're not going to just throw your life away needlessly. You're going to think about what's going on, and that's important in battle. So that's interesting. But I think ultimately kind of the reason why I like the series is that it's got a lot of different elements to it. Like there's like it's not an isekai again, because it's not like a person was taken from one world to another world. It's all in that same kind of fantasy world where all of these mechanics kind of are already set up and already exist. But it's interesting too because you've got kind of a Greek gods theme, and you have like the gods with their, you know, their familia, their families, which are just these different adventures and people that they kind of adopt into them. And but you kind of still like I don't know like a ton of Greek mythology, but you can tell like there's different tension between the different gods that they've pulled from kind of the myths and the legends. So that's kind of also like another interesting dynamic, because you're like, this person historically has this personality, and then these are the people that are drawn to them, and they're in conflict with these other people, and it's just kind of an interesting scenario, and it kind of has like a lot of potential, I think, as a series. They can go a lot of different directions with it and have it make sense and have it be interesting. And it follows like some cliches, like maybe some cliches like a bit too hardly, like in the sense of like, this is my whole motivation for getting stronger, and I just want to get stronger to please. Like, there's not necessarily like, it's not necessarily the best motivations, like, to follow as a person. But it's you know what I mean? But it's an interesting series.
Unfortunately.
But it's an interesting series, and it's fun, and it's light, and it's easy to watch. And that's and more importantly, like, Danmachi 2 has started like last week. Ooh. So I've got a whole new season to like look forward to, and I'm super stoked for the second series continuing. So that's good.
Nice. So my next, we're on number 3. This is not really in a super particular order, but One Piece. I'm sure if you know anything about Japanese culture, anime, like that's one that comes up a lot as being really popular. Definitely hugely popular in Japan. I feel like sometimes there's anime that's more popular in Japan or more popular over here, and I feel like that one might be one that's just more of a sensation over there than it is here. But it's one of the longest running, if not the longest running, anime out there. It's crazy. I'm current, maybe minus a couple episodes, like 850 something or so. It's crazy. It's been going on for so long. It has like 90 manga volumes or something like that. And it's just super fun. It's a super big world. It has a ridiculous amount of named characters. And I mean, it's the perfect adventure storyline of like, starts with the main character, Monkey D. Luffy, and he wants to be a pirate and get the One Piece. And he goes and gets his crew, and it just like starts with him finding crew members, and then they go out, and it's one of those storylines where you can just like keep going, where it's like, oh, then they come to this island, and they have 50 episodes worth of adventures on that island, and then okay, they leave that island, and then they find this other island, and they have 50 episodes of adventures on that island, and there's all these arcs. With that said, there's definitely arcs that are more interesting than others, and I believe there are like filler arcs. Filler episodes are not necessarily in the manga, and they're just anime, and it's like they don't necessarily serve the full story. It's more like they've caught up to the author, and because they release like every single week of the year.
I was gonna say, are they caught up to the author? Or are they like current with the
They've gotta be, because honestly, I'm not loving One Piece as much as I used to, because it's really slow, and they like right now they just ended kind of a big arc, and they're doing this other arc where it's like most of the episodes are flashbacks. Where they'll have like this little scene, and they'll be like, remember that one time, and then the whole episode is just flashbacks to stuff that you've seen. And that's kind of what it's been lately, so I'm excited for like new stuff to come.
Interesting skip.
But, yeah. But it's one of those that it's really, really funny. Like, I love a good funny anime, but there's like some really endearing moments too. It has like one of the saddest like anime deaths. I feel like nobody ever dies in anime or like shonens as far as like main characters. They get blown up a million times and never die, but then when they do, it's like a big deal. So you know what I'm talking about. You know. But yeah, my husband and I watched that one together, and it's super fun. I think it was like 7 years ago. I didn't start it when it began because that was like forever ago.
Did you start watching 7 years ago?
Yeah, it was around. Yeah, it was about when I met my husband Jonathan. We watched it together. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really good.
Awesome.
Check it out.
Okay, I'll try to be quicker. My third one is the shirt that I'm wearing.
Nice.
Which is Konosuba. And I just love Konosuba. Funny story, I actually checked Crunchyroll again for looking for clips and stuff for Konosuba, and I found an episode that I hadn't watched before.
Wait, what?
I know, as crazy as that is. I don't
How
know.
does that work?
I don't know because the episode was released in 2016, but it was like part of the first series, but then it was like added on.
Skip it?
I don't even know. I kind of feel like Crunchyroll occasionally will be like, hey, and we just didn't put this episode in our library, but you have it now.
Was it like towards the end?
It was at the it was after the last episode that I was used to where... Anyways, new episode to me, watched it last night, and was again, just perfectly happy. Like, Konosuba is probably not for everyone, but but it's amazing. Like, Konosuba is good. God, why is Konosuba good?
No one knows.
Konosuba is good because it is an isekai, for starters. Not that all isekai are great, but Konosuba is an isekai. He dies, he goes to another world, and then it's just like his whole intent is to just restart and be that adventurer and to be that person, and just kind of everything goes against him. Like, he kind of ends up with only getting like luck as a good stat, but even getting luck as a good stat, like, he's like the least lucky person in the series, because he like in the traditional sense, because you're like, oh, luck is your good stat, so you're gonna be like, you're gonna miss it, like attacks aren't gonna hit you, you know, if you have some kind of RNG event, you're gonna get the good outcome. But it's like his whole party like is like the least compatible party, but it just always kind of ends up working. That's the thing. It's like it's kind of like having terrible luck, but ultimately everything kind of works out. And I don't know, I just love Konosuba. The series doesn't take itself seriously at all. And it's super entertaining. It's really easy to watch. It's funny. And it's funny in the sense of like, again, just like terrible things happening and the kind of the best result of the terrible things happening coming out. Yeah. Like, Konosuba will always have a special place in my heart, and yep.
Nice.
Yep. If you haven't watched Konosuba, watch Konosuba. Watch it with an open mind.
Oh, God.
And watch it like when you're ready to watch something light and funny. That, and honestly, the other thing that I wanted to add this on, I love the Konosuba intro and outro sequences. They're really good, and I don't know why, because like the intro sequence is kind of just like villager kind of interaction, like it's just people moving around. And that actually might be the outro sequence, but it's like sped up world of people just moving around in the world and doing different things, and you're just kind of watching an accelerated version of that. It's like somebody took a time-lapse camera, put it on a hillside, and then just watched the town. But it's kind of interesting just because it feels like it's more alive. And even though they don't necessarily have like a huge cast, it just kind of feels like that world is like, oh, there's people moving about in that world, and you get to see it. And I've always thought that was really, really cool. I've never seen any other animes really do anything like that. So Konosuba, the best. Can't even describe.
That can be another video, our favorite intros and outros.
Yeah, no, that would be fun. That's definitely up there for me. Like, I like their songs, and just the way that they decided to put their scenes together is really smart, in my opinion. Yeah. Nice. Very clean. Very good.
So my next one is an oldie but goodie, and that's Inuyasha, and that manga came out in 1996, and then the anime came out in 2000. So it's a little bit like older. I feel like Danny watches a lot more of the newer stuff, and I'm used to kind of the older stuff. But I loved that one. That one, again, is this nice mix of like the main character Kagome is from modern day Japan, but then she falls down a well and gets transported to like feudal era Japan. So it's like kind of an isekai, kind of not, because it's like kind of like a time travel situation, like going back in time, but it's like still the same world.
Does she come back?
She does come back. Yeah, but not like she comes back like a few times or something. It's not like every day, or she can go back whenever she wants. I can't remember, but it's like mostly takes place back in time, and she's like navigating her way. But the first thing that happens is that she meets the half demon Inuyasha, and that's the other part I really like about it, is that it's very, again, heavily spiritual world, demons and gods and magic, and also just an adventure story. And she's got her little group that she goes out.
Her party?
Yes, her party. And they are traveling around collecting these shards that they need to collect and put together, and just everything they discover along the way. And there's like a little bit of romance in there, but it's mostly an adventure story. And it's just fun because it's more old school with like archery and sword fighting, and that's really fun. And I really like the art style. That time was like when I was watching a lot of anime, that kind of art style. So that's what's like kind of nostalgic for me. And that's what I really enjoy.
Was that kind of period known for that, like that kind of animation?
I mean, it's just like hand drawn, like before computer animation was popular and mainstream. So I mean, it was just kind of like that's what was there. But I think it's really pretty. Yeah. So yeah, it's fun. I really like it.
I think I've actually seen one episode of this, just because it's familiar and I kind of remember the well scene specifically. Yeah, it'd be very interesting. I have questions, but I'll probably just watch the series and then get the questions answered that way.
Yeah, and it's like it's a little bit longer. I feel like it's maybe around 200 episodes.
Yeah. My fourth is actually a newer series. And again, I actually really enjoyed doing like a little bit of the research for this, just like because I mean it was just going back and rewatching different episodes and like trying to find a couple moments like why you kind of really like these series. But Interviews with Monster Girls, that's like one of my newer,
you showed me that,
like favorite anime, and I want to say I don't even know why, but I do know why. And it's like it's slice of life. It's really light. It's easy to watch. You like the characters involved. It feels like Hikari. I wanted to talk about Tetsu Takahashi, I think, and then Hikari Takanji, something. I can't quite. I don't remember. I can't read my writing and I can't get her name exactly right. But Hikari is a vampire. But they kind of, it's funny because they're thrown into this world where they have demi-humans, and the demi-humans kind of share aspects with their lore-ish arts, if that makes sense. So there's like a Dolheim, there's a Yuki Onna, Snow Woman, a vampire, and a succubus. But the thing that's kind of brilliant and what makes the series work is that they take aspects of those kind of characters and they tone them way down, and then they give them to kind of everyday people. So they call themselves demis because they're demi-humans, but they don't necessarily share all of the aspects of it. Like Hikari is like super typical high school student, super just big personality out there. She almost makes the series like just by herself. But things like traditional things like from vampire things like oh my gosh, she'd be like, if you know, like getting stabbed with an oak stake, she'd be like, yep, that would kill me. And it's like, it's because it would actually kill her, not because it was oak or anything specific, like special about it. And it's like garlic doesn't actually repel her, and water doesn't repel her, and it's more like she's got like really sensitive skin, so she can be out in the daylight, but she has to like wear long sleeves and because she'll get sunburned really easily, and she can see really well at night. So it's like all of these aspects that are like attributed to vampires, but they're toned way down, and they're kind of like that for each of the other characters that share their kind of lore-ish like counterpart traits. And because of that, and it just because of that, it works. It's just a fun series that is really easy to watch, and you're kind of just in, like, you get invested in the characters pretty easily. And I would love it if they made a second season of that. It's just, it's a great series, really easy to watch, super fun, highly recommended.
Nice.
Yep.
So my last one, which just makes me smile and happy, is Orang High School Host Club. I watched that one way back, and it's probably one of my most rewatched. Because,
your go-to?
Like whenever I'm sad, boom, Orang. You know, like it's so funny and clever and hilarious, and I feel like I have a little bit of a higher threshold for when it comes to humor, and like not just everything makes me laugh, or like certain categories of things like that make other people laugh. I'm just like,
like it has to be bigger, more in order to
like a little more witty, you know. And yeah, it's just like, it's a really feel-good, funny story too, and just really funny characters. It's kind of this like reverse harem story, and the main character is really smart and gets kind of, I think, like an academic scholarship to go to this really fancy rich high school, and where everybody is like snobby rich, you know, like ridiculously rich, which they play up that a lot, and it's really funny. And so this character joins Haruhi, inadvertently joins the school's host club, which is a bunch of guys that put on like tea parties and events for all the ladies.
Provide the male entertainment for the women's.
It's really
I guess that's true.
Yeah. So I'll hopefully include one of my favorite clips in this video. But yeah, it's fun, and it does like, so there's like a few, there's, I don't know how many there are, 5 or 6 main guys, and it goes through all the episodes, and there's like different episodes that feature each one and kind of like their backstory, and it's really fun, and it does like have moments of being really endearing, and like the main guys also kind of represent like a stereotypical character and that you see in other anime, and kind of does a little play on that too. So that's really fun. But it also has some really sweet, sincere moments too, which I like. And there's only like 2 seasons, I think, and the manga, of course, goes on way past that, and I read through those too, and it's really good.
Is the manga actually finished, or is it still? It's
complete.
complete.
Wraps it up really well, and so that one, it's just so fun. It's like a mood booster. I showed that one to Danny.
That's important. We're like maybe a quarter of the way through it, maybe getting close to halfway through the series. So I've seen at least a fair amount to understand what she's talking about.
It's super fun. I love it. Really funny. Everybody should watch that one. It's just so good and happy.
Right. I'll just go really quickly, and this is again kind of, I like this series for many of the same reasons that I like Interviews with Monster Girls, but it's Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. I think Melissa's seen some of this, maybe 1 or 2 episodes.
Oh yeah. Funny story with this one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you couldn't make it.
I was like,
you couldn't make it through the first episode.
I watched that, but I couldn't make it all the way through, and you were like, oh, I know exactly which episode you stopped on, thinking I had watched like several, and then I was like, I can't take it anymore. I was like, no, I couldn't make it through the first episode.
It's so sad though, because it's such a good series. Anyways, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. It's again very light series, and I think one of the reasons that's unique to this series and to the animation and everything on this one is that it's like a vignette style. So honestly, you don't need to know or start at episode 1 or anything to watch Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, and that's why I like it. just because you can, like, it's all the episodes are fairly self-contained, they're fairly self-explanatory, so if you want to watch something really light and you're just like, hey, I don't particularly want to start a new series, it's like, I'm just going to watch episode 3, or I'm going to put on halfway through episode 7, and it's just entertaining and it's enjoyable, and you don't necessarily miss a lot. So there's not necessarily, I think, a lot of animes out there that you can just do that are so, like, there's so many that are so episodic that you need to, like, know the history of what's going on in order to actually understand what's happening now and get the content from it and actually have that experience. And this series just isn't like that. I mean, you learn more about the characters by watching them in order, but I mean, really light, really easy to watch, really fun. I'm hoping they make more episodes. I have kind of looked on the news, but I don't remember offhand like what the plans are for that series. But enjoyable, entertaining, light, like what more could you want? Like, it's so, like, okay.
What?
Well, no, I mean, you know what I mean. It's good. It's a good series. I would, again, highly recommend watching it. So I think that's actually it. Those are our top 5. Those are each of our top 5, which is a total of 10. I guess wrapping up, did you have any, like, I had a question probably through yours. How many of mine on my list have you actually seen?
Well,
like, even any of?
I mean, SAO is the only one that I've seen. Well, I mean, you were talking about some of the spin-offs that I've only, like, I've seen SAO, the full,
most of the series.
Yeah, well, I've seen the original 2 seasons, and then I watched GGO, but then I haven't watched anything else.
You haven't seen the Atlas Agent, right? Yeah.
It's on my queue to watch, and I loved that one. I love that series, except for, as I said, like, for me, the second part of the second season just, like, really dropped off for me.
I think
it kind of, like, I mean, the art, the storyline, like, the big storyline wasn't there anymore.
Yep.
And it was more, like, wrapping up, like, just stuff. I don't know, it just didn't feel as interesting to me.
What's interesting, too, about that, and I had this point in my notes that I didn't talk about, was the fact that there are so many other characters and other kind of story arcs that they haven't gone into that they could have gone into, which would have been better. Like, you don't meet Kismel, and you don't meet Argo, and you don't meet, like, there's all these other characters that kind of, like, in the progressive and in the manga that are a little bit more side characters, but that really offer more to the series that they could go there. But anyways.
And I feel like most of the other ones, it's just, I've seen one episode, or half of one episode.
Part of an episode.
Yeah.
I've seen all of Death Note from yours, and I think I've seen, like, maybe 1 or 2 episodes from Inuyasha.
Inuyasha. I don't even know if I'm saying that right.
Oh, and I've seen part of Ouran, but I haven't
seen any One Piece, right?
I haven't seen any One Piece, and I haven't seen
Sailor Moon.
I haven't seen any of Sailor Moon.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So other things to watch, like obviously, like if we haven't watched our, all of our top favorites, there might be some.
I know, it was actually really hard because,
gold
like,
to mine there.
There's so many other anime out there that I just love so much too. There's a lot of, like, shoujos and stuff that are, like, only a couple seasons long or whatever that are just really, really good, and I love watching those. Might throw my my anime list link in the description. You guys can see.
A couple more of the top ones.
Yeah. Well, what is it? MyAnimeList.com.
Oh, yeah. To actually.
So you can. It's, like, public. You guys can see, like, what I'm watching and what I have watched and what my rating is on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything else for favorites, questions?
Comment your favorites down below.
I know, right? It's so true. Okay.
Give us your recommendations.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
there's so much
pretty
out
much
there.
constantly watching anime, and I keep my own list in Excel. So, but if you have seen this and feel like there's a particular type of anime or a series that we haven't seen that you're, like, really passionate about, definitely send it to us, and we would be very happy to watch it. Always looking for more content.
Yes. All right. Well, we better sign off because this is really long.
It's true. 37 minutes rather than 45.
Bye.
Bye.